Well, a fishing trip turned into a nightmare for one Fort Stockton man. He ended up paralyzed and unable to walk.
But what caused it just might surprise you. Tonight, he's sharing his story with News West 9. Gina Martinez tells you what caused the paralysis and shows you his remarkable recovery.
It's hard to believe by looking at him, but just 6 months ago, 50-year-old Neil James was paralyzed.
No feeling whatsoever from the chest down.
James' ordeal began in July when he went on a fishing trip.
I dropped a fish on my foot, a lot of bleeding.
James says the cut was pretty deep, but nothing he couldn't handle. But 10 days later, he wound up in the hospital with severe flu-like symptoms. That was July 22nd.
The 23rd, I woke up and had no use of my legs. It wasn't a good feeling at all. You know, to be mobile one day, the next day be totally immobile and not understanding really what caused it.
James was quickly transferred to Medical Center Hospital, and after a series of tests, doctors diagnosed him with transverse myelitis.
It's a infection that came into my spine, got into my bloodstream, and ended up in my spine and ate the outer lining of the nerves in the spinal cord.
According to the Transverse Myelitis Association website, it's a rare inflammatory disease that causes injury to the spinal cord. Doctors believe the cut from the fishing trip was to blame.
Stopped the bleeding with a dirty hand, been fishing for hours. We assume that that's how the bacteria entered my bloodstream.
James was told to hope for the best and plan for the worst, but he says he wasn't willing to accept that. And so began his remarkable road to recovery. He did inpatient physical therapy at MCH. Little by little, there were signs of hope. James says one night he was watching TV with his son when he tried twitching his legs and they moved.
I do it again just to make sure that I was making that motion, and so elbowed him, hey, check this out, I'm moving. That was an amazing day.
He took his first steps around Labor Day.
He kept wanting to do more. Anytime I challenged him, he went for it. He was a hard worker, and all he wanted to do was just get back to what he was doing.
James is walking on his own now. He's still doing physical therapy, but he's come a long way since July. James says physically life is slower, but it's sweeter.
I enjoy laughing more. You know, I enjoy my children more. Wife, family, you know, those things are much more important to me now.
In Odessa, Gina Martinez, News West 9.